what you got. Oh, I can't see tomorrow. Gotta live, try to get a little wiggle room, the rest don't stop. Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Tryna make a dollar, flip it like it's vinyl. Tryna make a way. What to you if the price too high? Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Give me your best. Don't tell me nothing less, cause I'm giving you 100. How you always leaving me with nothing? I'm not impressed. It's gonna take more than this, cause I'm giving you 100. And I don't even know if I can trust you for nothing.
Hey, good morning. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to January the 11th. I am excited to be here this morning. I hope you're excited to be here this morning. As they should say in Sunday school, rejoice and be glad in the day that has been made, or something like that. Hey, Teal, good morning. And just for introduction's sake, my name is Aaron Dwyer. If you're here, you've probably seen this before. Or you probably know that. Happy Hump Day. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michelle Tilson. How's everybody go? Good morning, Kristen. That Happy Hump Day thing, that the camel is just one of those things that as soon as somebody says Hump Day, that's the first thing I hear. And it's still pretty funny. Like I was saying, my name's Aaron Dwyer, and I'm one of the broker owners of Exit Realty Lake Country. We get together every single morning, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, and talk about different things that have come up in our days and our weeks and our months, and share with each other. So good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's good. The deal is, if you're up with us this morning, if you're watching this morning, please let me know you're here with a little good morning comment, good morning chat. I'm gonna get this on Do Not Disturb. We're good there. So y'all, has everybody recovered from and happy day 11 to all of our 75 harders, day 9 for I think 1 or 2, but happy day 11. Welcome to a new day. Welcome to a new day of change, one more little incremental step in the right direction. And so proud of y'all, proud of everybody. Michelle, proud of you, and Jared, proud of Jenny, proud of all you guys going through this 75 hard reset. I'm gonna call it a reset because it really is a mindset reset. I was thinking about it and sorry about running late. I am not joking, y'all. If my alarm goes off at 4:00, and it goes off at 4 a.m. I'm not getting up at 3:45. I'm giving myself that extra 15 minutes. So my alarm goes off at 4 a.m. The past 2 mornings, I've hit snooze twice, which means I'm out of bed by 4:15. Those extra 15 minutes, while it doesn't seem like much, are so valuable to my morning. It's crazy. So I'm late this morning because of that 15-minute delay, right? I've not been able to journal yet. There are a couple of things that the journaling thing I haven't gotten to do yet. Good morning, Vanessa. So that little 15-minute window that I hit the snooze button affects the rest of my morning. It affects me being late on this call. It affects other things. And that's what's so crazy is so many small things make huge impacts on our lives, on our businesses, on our relationships, on everything. I mean, little bitty small 15 minutes doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot in a span of 24 hours. 15 minutes doesn't seem like a lot in the whole span of a week or a month or a year. But like I always say, small things done consistently over time, and it's not just that I say it. I did say it, but a lot of people have said it. Small things done consistently over time make enormous impacts. Michelle, by the way, I meant to ask you this. This came up in because I saw my 5 a.m. club book sitting by my chair. You're starting to read that book, right? Be close to your computers. I'm gonna be asking for comments. So it's gonna be kind of an interactive morning because I think this is super important for everybody to sort of jump on. So Michelle, you're reading 5 a.m. Club, right? She can run back to the computer and type yes. I think she's reading it. That's one of the things that Robin Sharma talks about in there. Michelle, if it's not one of the best books you've ever read, if it's not one of the best books you've ever read, I'd almost say I'll buy it. I'll buy it from you. That I'll pay you the money for the book. But it that book has done as much for me personally, I think professionally, from where I'm going standpoint than any other book I've ever read. It is so the way he writes it is that I think that's what makes it so stinking good is the way it's written and the way he introduces this information. But he reiterates that and throughout that book, throughout the 5 a.m. club, and Kristen said she's getting it too. So I'm telling y'all, it's going to change you. It will absolutely change your life. Doing small things consistently over time make enormous impacts. Okay, that is both positive and it's both negative. There are things that we do the other way that we do small things incrementally over time and they make significant impacts on the bad side of the line, bad side of neutral. So we do both things. We I hit the snooze button twice at a get and self-admittedly, this is I'm admitting to you guys. I didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock this morning. I didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock yesterday morning. But again, what that does is it creates a strain on the rest of my morning. So now I had this feeling of rush when I sit down to get the call set up. Now I'm rushing. Now I've still got to go get Jagger awake. Now I've still got to make sure that he's in the shower. All my morning then becomes compressed because of a 15-minute choice that I made to stay in the bed. I don't know if that resonates with anybody. I don't know if that hits anybody kind of right between the you know what's between your eyes. Let's say between your eyes. But when you make that extra 15-minute change in the direction of comfort, because if I did that every single day, if every single morning I woke up stressed, if every single morning I woke up rushed, if every single day I came to this call without a clear head, if every single day I let go of something small to preserve my comfort, what's the monumental impact that's going to have down the road? If I'm always choosing 15 minutes of comfort, 15 seconds of comfort, 4 minutes of comfort, 1 hour of comfort, if I choose to be distracted throughout the day looking at TikTok or Facebook or social media, and I just don't, I'm not going to stay plugged in to what I'm supposed to be doing. If I do that, what kind of impact does that make? What kind of monumental impact is that going to make on me personally? Is that going to make on me professionally? What kind of impact is that going to have on my business down the road? And that's the problem with these little small decisions like that is they don't feel bad at the time. I'm telling you, it felt absolutely fantastic to tell Alexa to snooze because I was tired. It has been an emotionally draining last 90 days. I mean, I literally am I feel like I'm fighting hell by the acre the last 90 days. I think me and Christy feel like we're fighting hell by the acre. We're sometimes fighting each other hell by the acre. Good morning, Facebook user Melissa Park. Good morning, you sweet lady. Good morning. And sometimes it feels like we're fighting each other's hell by the acre, literally and figuratively sometimes. Um, but we're trying to get. I'm trying to find some footing. Aaron Dwyer, not as Christy's husband, or not as Exit Realty Lake Country's broker, or not as one of the owners of this company. And I, Aaron Dwyer is trying to find a spot, right, to propel from where he is to where he needs to be. Which I think that book, the 5 a.m. Club, really was a catalyst for that. And I think, Michelle, you're going to find that the 5 a.m. Club, Kristen, you're going to find, for those of you who are reading that book, the 5 a.m. Club, you're going to see that book is going to have some things in that are going to challenge you. They're going to challenge what you think, what you've thought in the past. They're going to challenge what you feel about yourself. This book and those words are going to challenge things in your spirit. And you're going to hear things in that book that you've heard me say, that you've heard Coach Burt say, that you've heard other people say, that you've heard Sean Acor say, that you've heard other people say, that you've heard T. Jake say, that you've heard other people say, that you've heard Steve Harvey say, that you've heard Tom Ferry say. There are things, y'all. There is a theme throughout that book which is the same thing that most of you at Exit Realty Lake Country have heard pretty consistently. It has been something that you've heard pretty consistently since you've been at this company. So I'm gonna get to where we were, what I wanted to talk about today, and kind of building on yesterday. You know, you have a new perspective. Now what? Now what? You're TCU, and I'm gonna use the same example that I used yesterday. I'm gonna use the college football example from yesterday in the Georgia TCU game. You're a day removed. Now you're 2 days removed from getting absolutely curb stomped in a national championship game. Your football program was put on national TV. You were the only thing on the market, and there was so much anticipation. There was so much hype. There was so much hope. There was so much potential for TCU to do something for not only TCU and their fans and the university, but also for the Big 12, also for Texas, also to feel like they had vanquished the evil SEC. There were so many storylines in this game in the beginning. In the end, it turned out that TCU just wasn't ready. Did they put their skills to the test? They showed up, they punched the clock, and found out they weren't ready. Some of that is TCU's fault. Some of that is a result of Georgia's preparation for that same battle, that same event. But nonetheless, TCU found out it wasn't ready. So TCU, their coach, is going to be, and I'm sorry I haven't looked up where TCU actually is, but their coach is now going to be in an office. It is 5:52 a.m. in Texas, and right now he's either in the bed hitting his snooze button, or I'm guessing, if I know a D1 college football coach in that kind of program, he's probably at the office. He's probably at the office reviewing film. He's probably at the office looking at the plays. He's probably at the office reviewing the personnel. He's probably at his office reviewing his coaches. Why? Why do you think he's doing that? An answer. I want you, and that's not rhetorical. I really want you to answer. Why do you think if he is, and I would venture a guess he is, he seems like a pretty sharp guy. Why do you think he's at the office doing that at 5:52 in the morning? 2 days after getting his gluteus maximus handed to him in that game. Why do you think he's there? Somebody type it in there. Y'all think, y'all engage with me this morning. Why do you think that coach is there this morning doing what he's doing? Heck, I bet Kirby Smart's doing the same thing. Teal says we can win the next championship because he's committed to being better. So I'm gonna take it a little, and those are all, I agree with 100%. And I'm gonna go a little bit further back because he has had a perspective change. Because his perspective has changed. What he thought was good football, while it may be good football in the Big 12, while it to learn from his mistakes, that was Chris. Yep, learn from his mistakes. While that may be good football, and that may be very, very, he may be very successful on a smaller stage. For him to elevate to the biggest stage, there's a gap. And he would not have realized there was a gap unless he put himself on the biggest stage, and unless he put himself in the arena, unless he got his nose bloodied, unless he put his players out there, put his plan out there, and gave it a shot. And now he has a different perspective. Now he has a different view of what good football is, thanks to Georgia, thanks to the University of Georgia Bulldogs, thanks to a two-time back-to-back national championship winner. For all of you that are saying go Dogs in your heart right now. But my point is this. So many of us are afraid to take our game to the next level. So many of us are afraid to take what we have learned, to take what we know, to take the skills that we have developed and elevate ourselves to the new level. Because we're afraid we're going to get beat 65-7. because we're afraid somebody's going to hang up on us, because we have these fears built into our subconscious. We have these fears. You have these fears that are built into rejection, that are built into abandonment, that are built into I'm not good enough, that are built into all your negative self talk, that are built through all these different things. That's what we do. So instead of even trying, we retract. So instead of getting off the bus to go play the game, we sit back at the hotel where it's comfortable. Because if I sit at the hotel where it's comfortable, I don't have to get embarrassed. And Lord knows I don't want to get embarrassed in front of all these people. So I think I'm just going to retract. And so you retract once, which makes it easier to retract twice, which makes it easier to retract 30 times. And the monumental impact that has on your family, on your business, on your future, on what you're doing is far greater than any amount of comfort that you've received, any amount of perceived comfort you may have enjoyed by not getting embarrassed every single time. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? When your perspective changes, when you figure out you may not measure up, when you figure out you may need more information, when you figure out there's something more you need to get you to where you know you ought to be, what do you do? When your perspective changes, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to get up earlier and evaluate your plan? Are you going to use the tools at your disposal? Are you going to abandon everything that you know to try to figure out a better way to do it? Are you going to do you think the coach goes back is going to wake up today, he's sitting in the office right now and he's kind of going, "Y'all, I think we just blow the whole thing up." I think we'll just blow the whole thing up. I think that TCU just may be the place that just may be a TCU thing, and probably if I went to the University of Texas, or probably if I had more resources, or if I just changed the color. I mean, who likes horny toads anyway? Maybe I need a better mascot. Is there any way we could change the horny toad mascot to be, instead of the TCU horny toads, we could be the Bulldogs? Heck, it obviously works for those Bulldogs. Maybe if we turned into the Texas Christian University Bulldogs, it would help for us. Maybe if we could be like them and just use the same name they use, maybe that will work. Maybe it's purple. Maybe if we just change our colors to red and black instead of purple, maybe that would work. Do you think that's what he's doing? Because so many of us believe, we think, and in this business, y'all, in this business, and I'm gonna get fired up right here, and I don't mean to, and my voice is elevating, and I don't mean for my voice to elevate, so I'm gonna try to calm it back down just a little bit. We have become so attuned to the outside world that we have forgotten that our progress and our strength and our hope and our joy and who we are comes from the inside. Good morning, Millie. We become so attuned to outside circumstances, cause and effect, cause and effect. We wait for something on the outside to change before we change. We wait till we have enough money in the bank. We wait till we change the horny toads to bulldogs. We wait until we can change purple and black to red and black. We wait to change something on the outside, hoping that's going to initiate some change on the inside. When at the end of the day, the change that needs to happen is the change that happens when you look at yourself in the mirror. When in fact, the change that needs to happen is when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't dog talk yourself, that you say wonderful things to yourself. That's why affirmations are so important. Please raise your hand if you're still doing your affirmations. I know it doesn't seem like much, but if you're not doing affirmations, if you're not affirming who you are with positive self-talk. I don't care. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're hitting the snooze button on your success. You're opening doors to things you shouldn't open doors to. Michelle Tilson says she is. Millie, she's doing her affirmations. Y'all, if you're not pouring hope and joy into yourself and you're waiting for something on the outside to pour hope and joy into you, I am telling you, you're going to live your entire existence on this planet in a state of lack. You're going to lack joy. You're going to lack happiness. You're going to lack motivation. You're going to lack money. You're going to live in a state of lack because you're not putting the focus in the right spots. When your perspective changes, when you feel like you're not measuring up, when you feel like something's not going right, when you feel like something's not happening the way it ought to happen, instead of looking for some outside circumstance to change and to change that, why don't you change yourself? Just lost my camera. There's back. Why don't we change ourselves? Why don't we look at internally? Why don't we sit and have a conversation with ourselves? Why don't we journal and write down those things? Why don't we internalize, turn our focus inward? Because guess what? You are the cause of any effect you see. And I'm gonna speak to this industry because obviously most of you on this call are in the real estate business, but statistically, people leave real estate companies every 2 to 3 years. So somewhere in that 30-month window, 35-month window, they start looking at changing. And they're going to change brands. They're going to change companies. They're going to change brokers. They're going to change the perspective in hopes that in changing for brokers, in changing companies, it's going to give them a little fresh boost of energy that it may allow them to see things differently. It may allow them to do something differently, and it very well may. But statistically, if you look at the real estate industry, when someone changes, they have a little bump, but their little bump in their business is a result of their different energy. It's a result of their different attitude. It's a result of they've got a fresh perspective. But that initial bump is always followed by they go back to what they've always done. There are very few cases. It's an anomaly when somebody changes companies that company's the catalyst to them doing this. It's an anomaly. In the law of large numbers, they change, and guess what? They keep changing. Typically, when somebody starts changing brokerages, that is a function of what they do. They start to become disenchanted. They start to feel like this isn't serving me anymore. They start to feel like this isn't happening where it's supposed to happen, and they feel like that changing the company is going to give them some motivation. When in fact, the biggest change that needs to happen is way deep down inside. When the biggest change that needs to happen is them being so committed to their goals, so committed to their purpose, so committed to their drive, so committed to their business, so committed to what they're trying to do that they're going to stick with it. They're going to stay in it. Now, if that brokerage, if that real estate company isn't supporting that purpose, if it's not supporting your drive, if it's not supporting your mission, and you believe there's a disconnect between the brokerage and your mission, hey, I am the first one to tell you that I'm going to put myself in the positions and in the situations and in the effects and in the circumstances that align with my mission, that align with my purpose. I'm not saying that I know everything about everything, but I feel like I'm so super in tune with where I am inside that it allows me to be able to see these circumstances out here and my effect on them and their effect on me. So let me go back to something else. We're talking about perspective change. What are you going to do with it? What do you do? That's why we evaluate, right? That's why we evaluate every 24 months. We may evaluate once a quarter. We may evaluate, twice a year. What is your benchmark? Is your benchmark last year? Is it 2 years ago? Is it a new benchmark? Do you have a new set of goals? Do you have a new set of Do you have a new set of goals? Do you have a new set of objectives? Do you have a new set of a new direction that you're wanting to go with your business, with your personal life? I use Shay McCoy as an example all the time. I thought this was such a powerful example. Her perspective change. When Shay, some of y'all haven't met Shay, some of you have. Shay's in Milledgeville. We're trying to get Shay onboarded and brought into everything, but she's kind of a little lone ranger right now. So if you're down in Milledgeville, try to down that direction, reach out to Shay and maybe have lunch with her, have coffee with her so we can get down there. But until we get down there and get her onboarded and brought her and bring her into the fold, we're gonna have to get this next mentoring session set up, and so we're trying to work through that. But I remember her SWAT meeting. We had a conversation. That's why the SWAT meetings are so important, because you allow somebody else to look in. Guess what? TCU's coach, the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs, prior to Monday, thought they were an elite football program. They thought they were the best football program in the country. Monday morning, maybe even Monday afternoon, maybe even Monday they were in the locker room. They believed they were the best football team in the country. They had a goal. They had a mission. Their goal and their mission was not any different than Kirby Smart's goal and mission. They had the same exact objective. They both wanted the same thing. But I'll bet you any amount of money that Kirby Smart's belief in that objective and his ability to attain that objective, I'll bet Kirby Smart's belief system was a little different than I don't even know the coach's name at TCU, but I bet their belief systems are a little different. Would you agree with that? I would venture a guess that Kirby felt a lot better about his prospects than TCU's coach. The best thing that could have ever happened to Georgia was almost getting beat by Ohio State. Because I promise you, everything ramped up. Again, when your perspective changes, what do you do with it? So let's go back. So when your perspective changes, what do you do with it? Do you use that perspective change as a catalyst for growth? Do you use your perspective change as a catalyst to increase your production, to increase the number of phone calls you make, to expand your borders, to look out past that 100 feet in the fog and to find some new people to talk to? Or do you stay in the same spot over and over and over and over? Because y'all, I promise you right now, 2023 could be an absolute banner year for you in the real estate business. If statistically what they're saying is true, 30% of the industry is going to go away. 30% of the licensees are going to decide this is not as easy as it was the last 2 years. And because it's not as easy as it has been the last 2 years, I think I'm out. So when their perspective changes, they run, they hide, they shrink, they go away from the challenge. They don't have the heart for it. But for the other 70%, the other 70% that stays, your perspective should be, heck, that's 30% more business for me. That means might be able to increase my production by 30%. If I did 10 deals last year and I can get 13 this year, if I did 30 last year and I can do almost 40 this year, if I did 40 last year and now I may be able to do 52 this year, that's what champions do. And that's why I'm using the TCU coach, because I believe that guy's probably a champion. And I believe he's in his office right now constructing a new plan. Going back to what kind of water they serve on the sidelines. Is it in the right water bottle? Are our trainers delivering water to our players at the right time? Do we have the facility? Do we have the door going out to the practice field? Is that door going out or going in? Should we change it? He is looking at every minute detail in his program and trying to figure out, how do I make it better? And if some of you, we're 11 days into the new year. You have 354 days left in this year. Is your plan done? Because I've been talking about a plan for 2 weeks. Is your 2023 plan done? Have you finished it? Do you know what you're going after? Have you taken the time that it's going to take to sit down and map out where you want to go? Some of you have a difficult time. Some of us have a really hard time being alone, sitting by ourselves, coming up with all this information on our own. So maybe you need me to come in there and speak something to you. Maybe you need to find somebody in your office. Anna and Carrie and all the Brazelton agents are getting together this afternoon for a vision board party. And I think it's at 3 or 4. Is that right? Somebody can remind me. But I think it's at 3 or 4. But everybody's getting together for a vision board party. They're going to bring their collective energy into a room, and they're 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or however many of you guys show up. You're going to hear words that other people are saying. You're going to be able to. Oh, sorry, 10. My bad. I missed that by a lot. At 10. So some of you guys that are in that room are going to share the energy of the other people in that room. You're going to share the energy and some Carrie Leland cupcakes, I'm sure, or some cookies or some snacks that Carrie's going to bring. I'm certain there are going to be some goodies there. But you're going to share in that energy of that room. And you're going to be able to use some of that energy to inspire you, to uncover some things maybe that you haven't thought about. That's what you need to do. If you are not where you need to be, you're in a challenge, you're in a spot, you're in a place where your perspective has changed, then I'm going to encourage you, find an object. If you can't work through this yourself, if you sit and listen and you're just not able to hear God's voice, you're not able to hear the direction that you're supposed to go, you're not able to understand where you're supposed to be, y'all, call me, call Christy, call somebody in your office, call one of your friends, call your accountability partner, call your pastor, call, I don't know who you call Oprah, call somebody, but let them help you work through your perspective, work through that change. Because the worst thing you can do is hit the snooze button again on your plan. The worst thing you can do is hit the snooze button on your purpose. The worst thing you can do is hit the snooze button on your dream. The worst thing you can do is go another 24 hours with no plan. The worst thing you can do is go another 24 hours with no idea where you're headed. Time doesn't stop. The earth doesn't stop spinning. We don't quit going around the sun. It is in perpetual motion. And just because you stop, or just because you stall, or just because when I hit the snooze button, y'all, time doesn't stop. The clock keeps ticking. My day gets shorter. Every time I hit the snooze button, my day gets shorter. I lose valuable seconds and valuable minutes and valuable time to input into these 24 hours. When I tell you, you got to have a plan. And that's not just from Aaron. Y'all, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Sometimes I feel like I'm so inadequate and I'm so whatever. But from years and years and years and eons and generation after generation after generation, everybody had a plan. That's why the story in the Bible, 400 years in the desert, the children of God being slaves in Egypt for all those years, 400 years they were slaves. 40 generations, 10 generations, 4 generations, 10 generations, they were slaves in Egypt. And all they wanted was to be free. Generation after generation after generation. They wanted to be free. And so they're finally set free. They're finally let go. They're finally on the big stage. It's finally time for them to get what they've always asked for. And then when they got what they've always asked for, they went right back to what they've always done. They went right back to being slaves in their minds. They went right back to being possessions of the Egyptians. Out there in the desert, they wandered around. They made golden calves. They wandered around with no idea where they were going for 40 years. With no idea other than there was this place called the Promised Land that this dude named Moses told us we were going to. And I know we want to be there, but y'all know what? It was so much easier being a slave than it was being free. It was so much easier back there getting beat up, being told what to do, not being ourselves, not living in our purpose. It was so much easier back there than it is out here in the desert trying to figure it out on our own. Is that where you are? This perspective change that some of you have, this perspective change that some of you have been through, this thing that when you came to Exit Realty Lake Country, and I started to challenge the way you think, I started to challenge the way you believe, and we brought you into a family, we brought you into a culture, we brought you into a company that you felt was different than everything else because it is different than everything else. What are you going to do with it? Are you gonna look at it and wander around and wake up 12 months from now thinking, "Oh my gosh, I should get out of the real estate business. This isn't for me"? Are you gonna wake up 12 months from now and say, "I don't think exit is where it's at. I don't think this is the deal"? Are you gonna wake up 12 months from now looking back and think, "Oh my God, Aaron was right. Oh my gosh, these books are right"? If you set a plan and you do the small things incrementally over time, they do make significant impacts because I'm making more money now than I've ever made in my life. I have more doors open to me than have ever been open to me. I'm having conversations with these kinds of people. My clients are some of the heaviest hitters in my communities. Good morning, Miss Brenda. Will that be your perspective? Do you want to be a slave in Egypt or do you want to be free in the promised land? Because that perspective change is going to require you to evaluate at 5 o'clock in the morning everything you're doing. It's going to require you to evaluate everything you think. It's going to require you to pay attention to the words you say to yourself. It's going to require you to be grateful for the things you've been given. It's going to require you to do the small things over and over consistently every day to make those big significant impacts in your life. You have a change in perspective. Now what? Now what? Will you change the thing that matters? Will you do the things that matter? Will you evaluate the things that matter? It is the 11th day of January, y'all. You've got to have a plan. You got to know where you're going. You got to have your purpose in place. You got to look at your three. I want you to just have three. Just three. Mine are finances, family, and what's the other one? See, I got to review it. You got to review it every day. Hang on, y'all. That's so sad. Oh, my book's not. Yeah, it is. Mine are finances, family, and coaching. Those are my current purpose. My three things, my current purpose. Okay? Finances, family, coaching. Those are my three. Personally. Okay? I've got my three. I've written them down. I don't remember them. I still got to work on them. So I'm the same place you are. I'm telling you, this is as much for me. I wrote my things down this morning. One of the things that I wrote down was, you got to finish your plan. One of the things I wrote down after my affirmations is, you got to finish your plan. You got to finish. You got to start, but you got to finish. Your perspective, when your perspective changes, what are you going to do with it? It all starts on the inside, y'all. It all starts with you. It's the small things that make the significant impacts. Small things make huge impacts. Here's what I ask, and this is what I'm gonna ask of you this morning. For all of you that are on this call, if there is something you want to talk through, if there is something you want to speak through, if you want to talk through some of your plan, if you want to talk through some of your objectives, if you want me to help give you some insight as to how to get 12 deals this year, how to get 50 deals this year, how to do whatever it is you're going to do in your business that you want to do this year, there's a telephone, this little device, the thing that you look at TikTok on, and that thing that you look at Facebook on, and that thing that you look at Instagram on, and all the things that you look at all day long as you're scrolling. There's a little button on there. There's a little green one. It's got a little. It's like a little telephone. I know some of you aren't as old as I am, but used to in the old days, there was a telephone that would hang on the wall, and that telephone that hang on the wall, there was a base, there was a handset, and the handset was shaped kind of like had two little things, a thing right there and a thing right there. One thing you put on your ear, and the other thing you talk through, right? The microphone and a speaker. That's what it looks like on your phone. So it's a little green square, little app. I'm an Apple guy, so I'm not sure what it looks like on your Android devices, but it looks kind of like that handset. If you push that button, then another screen comes up with these numbers, and then you get my number, which all of you should have, and you just dial those numbers, and then push the green button at the bottom, and it will magically ring my phone, and then we'll be able to have a communication. I'm being super sarcastic right there, y'all, but for real. I need you to reach out if you need me. Don't sit back and let things fester. Don't sit back and let things happen. Don't sit back another 24 hours and not have your plan and purpose, not know what you need to do on a daily basis. Don't let another 24 hours pass where you're not working on you. For my 75 harders today, Michelle, Kristen, Vanessa, Jared, if you're watching, I didn't see Anna on here. Go get it. Day 11, knock this bad boy out. Your mindset should be good right now. You should be rocking and rolling. There's no way it's going to get you out of where you're going. There's nothing going to distract you from getting to where you're going. For the rest of you, get something in your day to day that you're going to set your mind on. My computer is there. I'm back. Get your mindset on something that's yours today. We need to go, Jaggers. We're not late. And I got to go. Okay. I love y'all. Your perspective has changed. Now what? Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. I can't do it for you. I can encourage you. I can love you. I can plan with you. I can help you. I can point you in the right direction. But I can't do it for you. You got to want it. I love y'all. Have an awesome day. Be good. I hope today was good. I hope there was something out of this that helps you today, maybe challenges you today, maybe convicts you today, maybe encourages you today. I hope you got something out of this today, this morning. But I love y'all. Be good. Be great. Be you. And we'll see you in the morning. Bye, y'all.